I am going to be recording this class. As recording this class, what that means is that it's actually this class that you're taking right now. So you'll hear your voice, you'll hear my voice in the recording. That way, at the end of the class, I can ask you if you would like me to email you a copy of the class that you just attended so that you can watch it again at your convenience or give it to other people that may need to see the same class. Or if not, you just let me know that you don't think it's necessary and I won't send you the class. All right, so let's get started. This is the DARCI marketing class. And as the DARCI marketing class, we're going to be focusing, obviously, on DARCI and marketing. Now, the reason we separate them, though, is because although DARCI does do a number of important marketing aspects, there's also manual marketing that the software does. And so you really should understand both. And that's why we call it, instead of just a DARCI class, DARCI marketing. Any questions on anything before I get started? And then I'll just get started and you can interrupt me with any questions that you might have.
No, I'm good.
All right. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need DARCI to be hired. And not trying to sell anything, she's part of your software. So how do we hire DARCI? Well, we click on the DARCI marketing button here. Now, if you don't have that, it may just be that you need to update your software. You may see a DARCI button on the far right and it just says DARCI. That just means you're using an older version of the software. But either way, you're going to click on the DARCI button and that brings up the Setup DARCI window. This is how we hire her. And you know what? I am using the wrong data. So bear with me just one moment. There we go, and now we're using the right data. Okay, so we're going to click on DARCI Marketing. That brings up our Setup DARCI window. And I'm going to hit Setup Account. By clicking on Setup Account, this is how I hire DARCI. I fill out this form. So, required account information, business name. So you're going to put in the name of your business in this field. Then address, city, state, zip code, telephone number. If you're in Canada, you can certainly use postal codes, etc., and provinces. A business website address, you put in your business's website address here so that there's a link. Then we have business email address. Now this is a little bit different than just putting in an email address. And what I mean by that is, of course, that is precisely what you'll be doing, is putting an email address in here. But I need you to understand why this one's called business and these are called owners. The first one, business email address, is if one of your customers or staff, gets an email from DARCI, and they reply to it, it must go somewhere. So we have it going to whatever address you put in here. So again, if your customers or staff receive an email from DARCI and they want to reply to that email, we need to be able to send that reply somewhere so it gets forwarded to whatever address you put under business email address. So maybe that's an info address, or maybe that's the manager's address or something like that. Next, we have owner's email address and owner's email address too. Same thing, they both work exactly the same way as each other. The only difference is that if you have more than one owner, you can have more than one email address. Or if the owner's got a home address and a business address and they'd like you to do both, then you put both in. If it's just one, you can do it just like I did, just one. After you've put in the owner's email address, and the reason, by the way, what the owner's email address is for when DARCI has things that she believes are for the owner's eyes only, that's where it will be sent. So those items that are owner's eyes only will go to the owner's email address and the owner's email address too. They will not be going to the business email address unless, of course, that's the very same email address if that's what you prefer. Next is upload logo. Every email that DARCI sends out to your customers is going to have your logo and your social networking icons on it so that it's a good-looking email. It can't do that if you haven't uploaded your logo. And you do that simply by clicking on the Upload Logo button. Now, if you are using the installed version of the software, meaning it is directly installed on your computer, then you can upload a GIF, a JPEG, a TXT, or a PNG file. If, however, you are using the cloud version of the software, which so many are now, you may only upload a JPEG, a .jpg. Okay, so once again, cloud can only upload a JPEG, installed can upload a GIF, a JPEG, a TXT, or a PNG. Also, the file itself must be 500K or smaller. 500K or smaller. So those are the requirements for uploading your logo. Now, once you have a logo in your computer, wherever it is, and it is 500K or smaller, and it's a JPEG, then you can hit Browse, and you can find that logo on your computer. And you can upload that logo simply by pressing Upload. It will tell you up top when the upload is finished. It usually only takes a few seconds, and then you can close. You have now uploaded your logo, and all of your emails that go out will have your logo attached to them. Next, we have your text account username and text account password. You do not have to have a text account username or password. Everything DARCI can do via text, she can do via email. So if you just want it to be email, that's just fine. A lot of people go with just email because it's completely free. Whether you send out 5 emails a day or 55,000 emails a day, you're not going to get marked as a spammer. The system is a certified marketing system, just like Constant Contact or Go Loyal or MailChimp, etc. So many of the others out there. The DARCI system is a certified marketing system, and because of that, you don't get marked as a spammer even if you were to send out tens of thousands of emails, because these are going only to your customers. So again, if you need a text account username and password, in other words, if you want to be able to send texts through the system, you must get those by sending an email to, I know it sounds a little bit strange, but send it to rates, that's R-A-T-E-S, at prosolutionssoftware.com. Now that's not where I would put it here, but I would just want you to be able to see it written out, rates at prosolutionssoftware.com. So you've got those 2 S's there in the middle. That's where you would send your email asking for your text account username and password. Now, texting can cost you. If you get a certain amount of free text, that's fine. There are different reasons why you may get free texts. For instance, if you're in the cloud, you are assigned a certain amount of free texts every month. If you are using our credit card processor, our preferred credit card processor, you get additional free texting accounts. However, if you are not using either, if you're using the installed version and not processing directly through our processor, then you may pay $30 for the first 1,000 texts. And if you exceed that in a month, it's an additional $20 for every group of 1,000 texts after that. They do not roll over. So it would be, if you used however many texts you used, you would have to get a new block of them every month. Next, on the right-hand side, you have Google+, Yelp, City Search, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram fields. Remember what I said, that every email that DARCI sends out has your logo, and it also has your social networking icons. This is how it gets your social networking icons. So if you have a Google+ site, go to your business's Google+ site, copy the URL, and paste it into this field. If your business has a Yelp page, copy the URL and place it into this field. Now you might say, well, we don't have a Yelp page. Well, do me a favor and check, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but a Yelp page can be created for a business without the business's knowledge. It can be client created. You may have a Yelp page that you're unaware of. So it's important that you check to find out if you have a Yelp page before you simply leave this blank. If, for instance, you did have a Yelp page that you were unaware of, that can be very dangerous, because you may not know that you should be responding to some of the reviews that you might be getting on that page. Some of them may very well be negative. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that the people that are most likely to write a review are people who have had a negative experience. So if you're controlling your Yelp page, you have a much better way of taking advantage of turning a negative into a positive, or simply having those positive reviews out there for you to feel good about. Again, go to your Yelp page, copy the URL, paste it in. If you've got a city search page, same thing for Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram. Once you have put those URLs into the necessary or corresponding fields, then when DARCI sends out an email, it will include the icon for whatever social networking sites you have included the URLs for. So the Facebook blue square F will be there, the Instagram camera will be there, the Yelp logo will be there, etc., so that your customers can quickly and easily click on a button to be taken to your Yelp page or your Facebook page or your Twitter page or Instagram, whatever it may be. After you have put your URLs in for your social networking sites, you can press save. You do not have to do anything with these bottom 3, online gift cards or online scheduling or online retail. After you've put in your social networking site URLs, simply press save. a window will come up that says your settings have been saved, and okay, and we can exit out. Done. We have now hired DARCI. Now what we want to do is get DARCI to work. If you are in the cloud, there is nothing you need to do to get her to work. But if you are not, if you are an installed version, then you have a button that says Run DARCI right here. And you're going to click on that button, and that will launch DARCI. She will now be running on your computer. If you ever turn off your computer or have to reboot it for any reason, you must remember to go back in and run DARCI unless you're in the cloud. If you're in the cloud, it doesn't matter if you turn off your computer or not because your software is in the cloud, and so is DARCI. She never turns off. If you don't turn off your computer, DARCI should run for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you're an installed version. But again, if you ever have to reboot, you must remember to run DARCI again. Now we're going to talk about the jobs that DARCI actually can do for you once you've got her running. She has 5 main jobs. Now, there are other things that she can do as well, but we're going to focus on these 5 jobs. The first one is appointment reminders and confirmations. So I click on my email confirmations here, and now I can write a subject line and a greeting. Anything I want it to say. This is what I've written. You can make it say anything you want. And you can use what are called variables so that everybody gets an email that is unique to them. These variables can be found by clicking on this information I. So the variables here, open caret, business space, name, closed caret to insert the business name. Open caret, lowercase service, closed caret to insert the service name. Open caret, lowercase OP, closed caret to insert the operator name. So what do these things do? Well, something like what I've done here, mine says, reminder for Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Remember that you have an appointment for a Swedish massage or a cut and color or whatever it is with Sally on July 19th at 8 a.m. Please arrive 15 minutes early to unwind before your treatment or something like that. Again, those variables make it so that everybody gets an email that is specifically unique to what it is they're getting. Next, after you've written what you want, you must choose how many messages are going to go out prior to confirmation. And what do I mean by that? Well, for instance, I could say just 1 message is going to go out before their appointment, 2, 3, or 4. I've chosen 2. And I said, now, when do these go out? In this case, I've said 2 days before their appointment, they will get this message. And then again, they will get it 1 day before their appointment. But that's not necessarily the case. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's pretend that you weren't using software at all. You were using a paper book, and I had an appointment with you. So you called me and you said, hey, Matt, I just wanted to remind you about your appointment with Cindi Salon and Spa day after tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And I say, oh, gosh, yes, I can't wait. I've been looking forward to it. So you got me on the phone. You spoke to me, and you confirmed the appointment with me. Well, you would mark me confirmed on your piece of paper. You wouldn't call me the next day to confirm again. And DARCI does the same thing. When she sends this message out, yes, it has your logo on it. Yes, it has your social networking icons on it. But it also has a big button that says, click here to confirm your appointment. If your customer clicks that button, it will mark the appointment confirmed right on your appointment book, just as if you had done it yourself. And it will say that it was confirmed by the customer on this date at this time. Now, if the customer does not confirm their appointment after they get the first message, then they will receive the second. If, however, they did get this first message and they confirmed their appointment, DARCI will not send out the next one asking them to confirm again. Does that make sense?
Yes. I
All
did
right.
not. I've actually been using that for a long time, but I didn't know that part of that. I didn't know it wouldn't send out the text
Okay.
again. Good to know.
All right. I'm glad you learned something new today. Also, once you have set this up, you must check the box that says active and then accept, and you're done. You can exit out of it. Now, DARCI every day is going to be checking your customers' appointments and sending out the necessary messages. Now, you can do the same thing via text. However, it's a little bit more limited. With texting, there is no logo, there is no social networking icons, and there is no big blue button that says click here to confirm your appointment. Because it's a text, there's no artwork. And you are limited to 140 characters, just like a tweet. So you're going to have a much shorter message here. whereas with the email, you might have even included your cancellation policy. In this case, something very simple like reminder for Cindy. Cindy, your appointment with Sam is on July 19th at 11 a.m. Reply Y to confirm. Now that's the difference. No button for them to click. They must reply Y to confirm their appointment. And if they do, it will do precisely the same thing as if they had pressed the button on the email. It will mark the appointment confirmed and the date and time. Again, all of this works precisely the same way that it does with the email. You check active and accept, and then you can exit out. Any questions on appointment reminders or confirmations?
No.
All right. Next, we're going to talk about marketing campaigns. These are automated marketing campaigns. And because they're automated, they're a little bit different than a manual marketing campaign. See, a manual marketing campaign might be something like, hey, I want to send a message to all of my redheads that live in this zip code. Or I want to send a message to all of my men with acne that buy this particular product or see this particular staff member. So that could be something manual. When you say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to create that list, and I'm going to send out a message right now. But an automated marketing campaign is going to go out to potentially everybody. But it's going to be based on what your parameters are. So let's go to our email campaigns. And when we click on email campaigns, a blast marketing messages windows come up. And we have over 20 different promotions that we can choose from. So for instance, maybe I want to do a birthday promotion. And this is based on my customer's date of birth that hopefully you have in their client file. And again, I get to choose how many messages do I want to send from 1 to 4. In this case, I chose 4. Once I've chosen how many messages I want to send, I get to say when they go out. Notice if I chose 1, now I only have 1 option. But if I choose 4, now I have 4 options. So when do they go out? I can choose from 0 to 30 days for this birthday one. So if my first message is going to go out 30 days before my customer's birthday, that's what I select, 30. Then I can choose something else for the second message. So now I'm saying the second message is going to go out 2 weeks before. The third message I said is going to go out 7 days before. And the fourth message I'm going to say is going out on their birthday. That's what the 0 is, on their actual date of birth. If it was a 1, it would go out the day before. So now that I've set when they go out, I get to say what goes out. So I can click on first message, and now I can write my message that I know is going out 30 days before their birthday. So it might say something like, happy birthday, Cindy. Again, I have my variables. Notice the variables aren't necessarily the same variables that they were for your appointment confirmations. So be very careful when you put them in. So in this case, this says, happy birthday, Cindy. Happy birthday, Cindy. It looks like you'll be celebrating your special day in about a month. Now, I wrote that because I happen to know that this message is going out 30 days before their date of birth. Be sure to come before, and then I've got my open caret, capital B, capital D, closed caret. So this is going to put their birth date in. Be sure to come before, maybe their birthday is September 17th. Be sure to come before September 17th for a birthday discount to look blah, blah, blah. Now, while you're writing this, or before you write this, you get to choose your font, and you get to choose your font size. And while you're writing, you can make a particular letter or group of letters, a paragraph or a sentence, whatever, bold or underlined or in italics. Or you can even change the color of the font for that particular part of your message. You can even insert URLs, something like you might have written in here, click this button or click here to book an appointment online. So then you would have the URL for appointments online here, and right here it might say click here, and you would insert your link. So then your words click here would become a hyperlink, and if your customers clicked on them, it would take them directly to that page for them to book their appointment. Or it might say something like click here to like us on Facebook or something like that, and then of course when they click on it, it takes them to that Facebook URL. So you can insert URLs as well. After you have written your message, then you get to choose your artwork that is going to go out with this message. There are 8 different pieces of artwork for you to choose from. That's what these 8 radio buttons are here. Now you are looking at this right now and saying, Matt, you miscounted. There's 9 of them. I see 4 here, 4 here, and 1 off to the side. Well, you're right, but there's 8 pre-made. So I can choose a pre-made image like this or something like that, whatever you want. But if you've looked at all 8 and none of them are exactly what you want, then you can upload your own custom image following the same rules that you did for your logo. After you've uploaded your custom image, the 9th one is available for you, and it becomes your custom image instead of one of the ones that we've already created for you. Then you can press Send Test Email, which we highly recommend. Type in your own email address and hit OK. By doing that, you'll see what your customers are going to see and say, okay, that looks good, but maybe it doesn't look good. Maybe your font's not right. Maybe your hyperlink is tiny and the rest of it is big, and so you need to, whatever it is, take a look at it first. Make sure it looks good, because you need to remember, and maybe your logo didn't upload because it was too large, or maybe you put it in as an improper format, whatever it is. You might look at this and say, that doesn't look good, and you always want to put your best email foot forward. So that's why we say send yourself a test email. If the test email looks good, you're happy with it, then you can save the template and exit, and you're done with your first message. Now I can go to my second message and do exactly the same thing. Your birthday's only 2 weeks away. Let us pamper you on your special day, et cetera, et cetera. I know this one's going out 2 weeks before. Everything else remains precisely the same. And again, send yourself that text email. You're happy with it, move on to the next message if you have any. Once you're satisfied with however many messages you have set up, check the active button and save the whole thing. And now you can move on to your next automated marketing campaign. So because in this case it's a birthday campaign and your customers all have different days of birth, you might send out no birthday emails today, and 5 tomorrow, and 3 the following day, and 87 the day after that. You never know how many are going out. It's based on your customers' dates of birth. It's important that in the client files, if you want to use things like that, you must have your customer's date of birth and anniversary if you want to use that as well. You don't have to put these in, but if you don't, you won't be able to market according to them. DARCI does not care about the year at all. She is only looking at the first 2 dates. In this case, Michelle Babcock's birthday is November 1st. So if I said I wanted it to go out 30 days before, then on October 2nd, because October has 31 days, on October 2nd, Miss Babcock would get the email saying, hey, your birthday's only a month away, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's go back into DARCI. Okay, there are other campaigns than just things like birthdays and Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. You know, you've got all sorts of different ones here. As I said, you've got over 20 to choose from, but there are also a few, just a handful, in fact, there's only 3 that are done a little bit differently. Because all of these, whether they're a happy anniversary or happy Valentine's Day or happy birthday, whatever it is, Mother's Day, they're all going out before the day. Before Mother's Day, the messages go out. Before Valentine's Day, the messages go out. But there are 3 that go out after the day. So what do I mean by that? Well, one of them would be follow-up. So let's go to my follow-up here. Follow-up goes, everything else works exactly the same way, but you need to remember follow-up doesn't go before the date. It goes after the date. Well, what's the date? The date is your customer's last transaction. So if I said I want one campaign to run and I want it to go 1 day from the date of their last transaction, well, then that would mean that everybody who visited me yesterday would get the message that I have set up for them. So I might have set up a message like, thank you for your visit. And my actual text might say, thank you, Cindy. Cindy, thank you so much for visiting us yesterday. We hope everything went great for you and look forward to seeing you again. Please print this email out for 5% off your next visit. You know, whatever it is. You might say, click here to write a review about us. Or be sure to use the links below to like us on Facebook and write a review on Yelp and, you know, write a review on Google, whatever it is. So that goes after the dates. I told you there were 3 of them. There's a follow-up new as well that works precisely the same way, except it only will go out to your brand new customers. How does the system know? It knows whether or not they have previous transaction dates. If they do not have previous transaction dates, they are brand new. This is their first transaction. So you can give a separate message to them that says something like, thank you so much for visiting us yesterday. We know that you've got a lot of choices for your salon or spa needs, and we're really happy you chose us, and this is a reason we want you to come back, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, there is one more, and that's lost client. This one also goes out after their last transaction date, but instead of 0 to 30 days, this one goes out from 30 to 360 days by month. So by choosing 90 days here, I've said I want this message to go out to anybody who has not been back in 3 months. Or at 120, this message is going to go out to anybody who hasn't been back for 4 months, whatever it may be. So then I might have something like this, and it might say something like, we miss you, Cindy. Cindy, it's been a long time since we've seen you. Please let us know what we can do to make your next visit memorable. Please print out this email for 10% off your next visit, or whatever it is you want to write. Everything else remains precisely the same. Now, Darcy's not dumb. She will not send out the lost client email, even if they haven't been in 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. If they have a future appointment booked with you, she won't send it out. So if they have not been in for the amount of time that you've selected and they don't have a future appointment with you, she won't send it out so you don't look foolish. Any questions on automated marketing campaigns?
No.
All right, moving on. The next thing we have are the notifications. Now, most of these are what we call suspicious activities. Not all, but most. So for instance, when a cash payment is voided, or when a price is modified at the point of sale, or when rewards points are adjusted, etc., when a transaction is modified. This one here, especially when a client file is printed. We've already had customers that have told us that Darcy's caught a thief because Darcy notifies the owners. Remember I told you when we went through the setup, the owner's email addresses are for those things that Darcy believes are for the owner's eyes only. So we've had clients contact us to say, hey, you know what, thank you so much. Darcy contacted me to tell me that one of my employees had printed out a list of all of my customers' names and addresses and telephone numbers at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so they were notified. Same thing like when a cash appointment is voided. Hey, boss, this is Darcy. A cash appointment was voided on transaction 12345 at 2 o'clock, July 17th, 2017 by Sally. When a price is modified at the point of sale, she'll notify the boss. When rewards points are adjusted, she'll notify the boss, etc. So whatever you check off. Now, not all of these are suspicious activities. For instance, this one here that says email client when booked, unbooked, or rescheduled. If you book, unbook, or reschedule a client's appointment, the system can, and it will ask you, would you like to send an email to this client? If you say yes, the client will actually get an email saying your appointment was just unbooked. Your appointment on this day at this time was just unbooked, or your appointment for this day, this time has just been successfully booked, or it has been rescheduled to this date and this time. So the customer knows that you are on top of things. Now, a lot of customers don't use this. You certainly don't have to. Some are checked, some aren't. It's entirely up to you. But I do want to give you one quick little warning about this. If this is checked, I highly recommend that you tell, especially new staff, that if they're going to practice booking, unbooking, or rescheduling appointments, because you just taught them how, to practice on themselves or to practice on a miscellaneous customer that you've created. The reason I say that is because we actually had one customer contact us that said, oh my God, there's something horribly wrong with Darcy. And we said, what's wrong? What's the problem? And she said she sent over 40 notices, emails to one customer yesterday. And they called us really irritated. And we, wow, that's not right. So we went in to take a look at what the problem was. Well, Darcy worked precisely the way she was supposed to work. So what was the issue? They had just hired a new front desk girl, and they taught her how to book, unbook, and reschedule appointments. And what did she do? She practiced, just like any good employee should. Unfortunately, she practiced on a live client. And she practiced and practiced and practiced, and that client got 40 emails that day. So something to keep in mind. But some others that are not suspicious activities, like this one here, email tomorrow's schedule to operator. If that is checked, then every night Darcy will email your staff their schedule for the following day. Email closing report to the boss. Maybe an employee closes, not the boss. And the employee's at home. The boss is already at home. After the employee closes, the boss can receive an email that says, hey boss, it's Darcy, here are tonight's closing numbers. So things like that. It's going to be based on what you check or leave unchecked. Okay? Any questions on that before we continue?
No.
All right. Okay, so Now what we've done is we've talked about appointment confirmations, campaigns, and notifications. I told you there are 5 jobs. That's 3 of them. There's 2 more, and those are the come again and the buy again, and they're found somewhere else. What is the come again and what is the buy again? Well, let's start with the come again. I'm going to go to Setup, and I'm going to go to my services. And this is where I get to set up my come again for any service I want. So let's say that I'm a hair salon, so I choose hair. And let's say that I've got a service that I believe should be repeated once every, I don't know, let's say 10 weeks. So I'm going to say that a full highlight should be repeated every 10 weeks. So now I can go to DARCI and go to my DARCI come again. Now I can use this in one of 2 ways. For instance, I could choose 12 weeks and say, okay, this should be repeated every 10 weeks. So I'm going to say 12 weeks because what the software is looking for is whether or not they have a future appointment for this service. So if they did not get a full highlight in 12 whole weeks after they got a full highlight, then they'll receive whatever this message is. It might say something like, hey, those highlights are starting to fade. And we see that you missed your last highlight cycle. You should get them every 10 weeks. It's been 12 weeks since your last highlight. So please book your next appointment with us. You could do something like that. Or maybe you could do it in reverse. And instead of going after, you could go with something before, like 8 weeks. So then it might say something like, hey, every 10 weeks you should be getting a full highlight. And we see you don't have a future appointment booked. And your next full highlight should be sometime in the next 2 weeks. Please call us today to schedule so that your highlights don't fade. So you could do it prior to or after. Remember, she won't send the email out if they have a future appointment booked for that service. So either way will work for you. It's just going to be based on the message that you want to send them. Does that make sense? Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry, I had you muted. Yes, it does.
That's all right. Okay, great. Okay, so that is the come again feature of DARCI. The next one is the buy again, and that you'll find in inventory. There is a buy again button. Now, you might not set this up for very many products at all. You might just set it up on your slow-moving products, or maybe you set it up on all of your products, whatever it may be. The consultants that helped us develop the come again and the buy again have told us that the come again results in about a 7% increase in client retention and service sales. The buy again results in about an 8% increase in product sales. And of course, it's completely free. So how does it work? Well, let's look at our Justin All-in-One shampoo. With my Justin All-in-One shampoo, I'm able to put in my subject and my body. Let's pretend this is a 20-ounce bottle. And let's pretend that I tell my clients that they should be using 2 ounces of it every other day. Well, if that's the case, then in about 3 weeks, it should be empty. So I write a subject like, your Justin All-in-One shampoo is running low. And my body. If you've been using the shampoo like we told you, then you should notice that you're either out or running low. Please print this email out and bring it in with you for 5% off your next purchase within 30 days. Again, it's whatever you want to write. That's what I've written. Then you get to choose, just like before, from 1 to 52 weeks. Well, if I think that this should be empty in 3 weeks, then maybe I choose 4 or 5 weeks, because I'm not that guy that honks the horn the second the light turns green. I'm giving my customer an opportunity to run low and then find time to come back to my salon or spa to buy this product again. So that's why I've chosen 5 weeks. It's totally up to you. But you write your message, you've got the number of weeks in here. Now again, DARCI's not dumb. Obviously, if the customer comes in within that 5-week time frame to buy that product again, it will reset the clock. But also, if they buy anything in the same category, it will reset the clock. Again, your customers will only receive these types of things if, in the client file, they allow you to send them promotions via email or text. Okay? Excuse me. If they don't allow you to send them promotions via email, or if you don't have their email address, they won't get those. Any questions on the come again or the buy again before we continue?
No, I just have one question before I forget it. We have some clients, we've done the text messaging confirmations and come again and that sort of thing for quite a while now. And we have some clients that did get the text messages, and they did not respond that they wanted to discontinue them, but they don't get them anymore. How can we fix that?
Okay, well, the way that they
So
set it
therefore,
up so that they don't get them anymore,
that.
yeah, the way that to do it so that they don't get them anymore is the client should reply with stop. And if the client replies with stop, it stops automatically.
No,
However, if they
did
don't know that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
respond, but they stopped getting them.
Oh, you're saying that the
phone number and everything, and we can't get it. We can't get them to receive a message.
Okay, that's something you would want to talk to with our technical support department. That's not something I'd be able to help you with. I'm very sorry. I'm not trying to blow you off. I'm just not a technician.
Okay.
So if you're having a problem like that, it certainly shouldn't be like that. So yeah, I would say that definitely ask one of our tech support department people, and they should be able to help you with that.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Now that you have set up your notifications, and we've learned about come again and buy again, now we need to get DARCI to run at a particular time. So we check off the things that we want her to do, like our confirmations and campaigns, or our end-of-day functions, or our come again or our buy again. If those are not checked, they won't go out. If they are, they will, based on the time that you set. And you can choose from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So you choose whatever you want. Couple of quick warnings. The end-of-day functions, things like the closing report and sending your staff members their schedule for the following day. You should have this set for at least a half hour after you close. And when I say close, I don't mean the drawer. I mean turning out the lights and walking out the door. Now, why do I say that? Because maybe you close at 7 o'clock, so you don't take any more appointments. Okay, fine. But maybe you haven't closed your drawer yet. So if you just set it to 7 because you say, hey, that's what time we close, then the boss won't get the email that says, hey, boss, here are tonight's closing numbers, because the staff member has not yet finished closing the drawer at the time that DARCI tried to send it out. So again, at least a half hour after the lights are out, so that DARCI can then send those things out. The other times, I would simply recommend that your confirmations and campaigns, your come again and buy again, should all be set at about the same time, so that you know exactly what time they're going out, different than the end of day functions. And I would also recommend that those go out at least a half hour after you open in the morning. That way, when you come in, if you lost power the night before because of a big storm or something like that, or for any reason at all, and you say, hey, my computers aren't on, and you've got to turn them back on, then DARCI can do her job. Now, if you're in the cloud, you don't have to worry about that. She just does it, because whether your computers are on or not, DARCI's running because your software is not stored on your computers. So don't worry about that. Just choose your time. She'll do her thing every day. Any questions on that before we continue?
No, that's great. I didn't know that we are on the cloud, and I didn't know that it would work even if the power's off, so that's good to know.
Yep. Sure will, yeah, because it's not dependent on your computers.
Right.
Okay, so next, once we have set up our times, I'm going to say accept and exit. I'm done with DARCI and her 5 main jobs. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about manual marketing. Now, I've got some really weird things in my client files. If I go to Ms. Babcock here, I've got some standard things, like if I go to tracking, she's got black hair and it's long. She gets perms. She has oily skin. But I've also got some weird things, like she rides a motorcycle, and she's got tattoos, and local business, NI1, and farmer's market, red. I mean, what on earth does this mean? Well, that's the point. It can mean anything you want it to be, because you get to create them in any way you want. Tracking items are incredibly important for targeted marketing. So you might say, hey, you know what? I've got a woman or I've got clients who visit me only on their motorcycles, let's just say, because maybe your town has a big motorcycle gathering, so they only come to you once a year during that big motorcycle gathering. And so now I can say, hey, I just want to send this email out to just my women who ride motorcycles. Now you can do that because you can set up, customized marketing. And how you do that? By go to Setup, Configuration, Tracking, and then add tracking names. You can delete them as well, but I'm going to say add tracking names. So I could type in something like, when you get it, this is all blank white. There's nothing here. You could type in something like color, and then come over here and say red, enter, blonde, enter, brunette, enter, black, enter, auburn, enter, silver fox, whatever. Then by doing that in the client file, you can go to their tracking and say, this person has black hair, this person has red hair, this person has silver hair. Whatever it is. Now you can market by that. Same thing, I type in hair length, and then over here I write long, enter, medium, enter, short, enter. Then they will be available to choose. So you can make it say anything you want. I've even seen some in some areas that say something like alternative lifestyle, yes or no. That way they could say, hey, it's Gay Pride Month here, and we're going to send out a message just to our gay clientele, or whatever it is. So you can really get focused, because a targeted campaign is going to be much more likely to be opened and used than a spam campaign. A spam campaign might say something like, hey, this is Cindi Salon and Spa letting you know about our summer special. That's spam. Goes out to everybody. A targeted campaign might say, hey, Cindi, we know that it's tough to keep your blonde hair looking the way you want it. And so we're offering, we just got an extra load of this special blonde that you use. And so we're going to offer it for 25% off because we've got too much. Now, this is directly focused on her. She comes to you, she's blonde, she buys these particular products from you, and that's how marketing can be done. So now, how do we do it? We go to reports, and we go to marketing. And now I can choose create a list. By the way, I can also, let me exit out of that, I can also do it through DARCI. I can click on create a list. It's the same window. Either way is fine. Now I can create a list. So I could say, hey, I just want all of my customers, just everybody. So I don't have to do anything here. And I can just go down here and give it a name, like all clients, and then create my list. And now it'll make me a list of everybody. Or I might say, no, I want this to be targeted. I want this just to go to women, and I want it just to go to women with red hair. So now I can choose. Now you see I've got a whole bunch of junk in here because when I teach my class, sometimes I put in extra things. So I just want it to go to my women with red hair, nothing else. So then I come down here and maybe give it a name like red females and create my list. Ah, this file already exists and contains data. Is it overwrite? Okay, yes. So now it's going to go through all 22,000 of my customers, however many you have, of course, and it's going to pull up all of my redheads. There it is. I got 6 of them. These are my redheads. And so now I can send a message just to my female redheads. Really easy. And I can keep adding things. I could say, look, I just want it to go to my females who have red hair, that ride motorcycles, that live in this particular zip code, whatever it may be. Then give it a name and create my list. Next, after you have created a list, you can go to Blast. And now I can choose any list that I may have created. They'll all be here waiting for me. So I might have my red females, and then I can go to Blast. I can blast an email message, or I can blast a text. Whichever I'm going to do, I must set it up first if I haven't already. So I go to Setup, and now I can give it a name. I think I've already got one in here for my redheads. Maybe not. No, I don't, so I'm going to make one. I'm going to call this Red Ladies. And that's my name for me, not for them. They won't see that. But they will see whatever's in the subject line. And I have a handful, or just 3 actually, of variables that I can use. So I could say something like open caret, capital CF, closed caret. We have the red for you, exclamation point. And then I choose my font, whatever it is I want it to be, and my font size, whatever it is I want it to be. Maybe even bold some, or underline, or italics, or change their color while I'm writing. So I can write something in here. Maybe even upload an image of my logo with a pretty redhead in front of it. And then my body that says something like, hey, all of you, or not even all of you, because I've got my open caret, CF, closed caret. I might say, hey, Cindi, guess what? So, hey, open caret, CF, closed caret, guess what? We over-ordered the special red that you buy when you come to our salon and spa. So we just wanted you to know that for the next 3 weeks, if you buy that product, we'll give you 20% off. So it feels like it's directly to her, but it may be going out to 50 different people. So you can do automated marketing just like that. Once you have created it, then you can go to email, choose whatever message you've created, send yourself a test emails to make sure that it looks good. Always do that. And if it looks good, hit process. And everybody on that list will get that message as long as they allow you to send them promos and you've got their emails. So it might go out to 6 people, it might go out to 60 people, it might go out to 6,000 people, whatever it may be. Now, you don't just have to use marketing for promotions like that. You might do marketing like, let's say that Christian comes up to you and he says, hey, Cindy, my 3 o'clock just canceled, and it's already 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And you know you don't get a lot of walk-in business perhaps, or the people that call in are calling in for tomorrow or next week, but they're not calling in for 2 hours from now. So you're like, you know, gosh darn it, even if your policy is to charge that customer for a no-show or a late cancellation, it still means that Christian's going to be sitting on his hands at 3 o'clock, and you may not want that. So you say, okay, I'm going to create a list, and I'm going to create a list of all of my men and women who like to see Christian. So I choose operators, and I choose Christian. And then I come down here, and I call it Christian's ladies or Christian's clients or whatever I want to name it. And then I go to blast after I've created the list. And that list will be here for me, like I've already made it. So here's my Christian's clients, or that's Kathy's clients, but same thing. I'll go to Christian's clients here and blast. Create my email or my text. Now I already have. I've got one here called Christian's 3 o'clock. So it's called Christian's 3 o'clock, and the subject, Cindy, there is an opening with Christian today. And then my body, there's been a late cancellation with Christian today. It is at 3 p.m. First person to call to schedule this time will get 25% off their service. Save my template. Then I can, and maybe when I upload my image there, because you have that upload image option, maybe I upload an image of Christian's smiling face. Then I can go to my emails, choose my Christian's 3 o'clock, test email, make sure it looks good. Yep, looks good. Hit process, and every one of his customers that allows you to send them promos that you have an email for will get this email. And hopefully now your phone's going to ring. Oh, I was thinking of coming to see Christian in the next few days. I can't pass up a deal like this. Book me for 3 o'clock. And hopefully more than the one phone call comes in. The first one comes in, gets that appointment. The next one's, hey, you know what? I'm sorry you weren't the first call in. We've already booked that time for Christian, but as long as I've got you on the phone and you like to see Christian and you were considering seeing him, why don't I book you for tomorrow, or why don't I book you for Thursday, or whatever it is? And obviously you don't have to give a discount this time. It is a way to generate additional business as well. So it doesn't always have to be for marketing purposes. It can be for gap filling and things like that. Do you have any questions for me at all on anything I've talked to you about today?
No.
Okay, well then that's the class. Was there anything you were hoping I was going to go over with you that I didn't?
No, I think you covered it.
All right. Well then my next question to you is, would you like me to email you this class that you just took?
Yes, I would.
Okay, and where would you like me to email that to?
Cindi, C-I-N-D-I, Arendale, A-R-E-N-D-A-L-E, at E, P as in pig, B as in boy, F as in Frank, I.com.
You've got it. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this and email you a link to the video so that you can watch it at your convenience, or give it to other people on your staff to watch as well. And that's it. We're all set. And thank you so much for attending today. Like I say to a lot of people, well, every time I close a class, the people who know most about the software are the people who are most satisfied with it or happiest with it. So again, I really do thank you for taking time out of your busy day to participate in this class. Have a great day, Cindy.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.